What is going down, everyone? It's time for Mojobreak.com, The Hype, episode 322. And, we made you guys wait a day, but I think, it was in the cards, no pun intended, that they released the Series 1 design. So we're able to talk about that on this week's show rather than being the last to talk about it. But we've got tons of stuff to talk about. We've got LeBron. We've got NFL playoffs. We've got Wemby and a curtain. So lots of topics to digest. You're only getting me and Cody today, so we'll see how that works out. If you're a fan of C-Rad and a fan of Dan, you might want to tune out or just pretend that they're here.
Yeah, tough luck. You can act like them at home now, with the Hype take-home board game. You can be all for it. We should do that, actually.
That's a good idea, actually.
The Hype board game?
A Hype board game, yeah.
Yeah, who would you want to be? Yeah.
There'll be Freeways on there, the Niners, and also the Warriors as well. If you guys are getting into breaks, I got a nice offer for you guys that listen to this show, and it's a very limited coupon that only 50 of you are going to be able to use, so it'll go quick. It's a 15% off any of your breaks on Mojobreak.com. Use code 15breaks. 15 breaks to get you 15% off. One-time use. So with Bowman Best being pre-sold, which is going to be hot next week, and with Prism still kind of running and Bowman Draft, all that other stuff, I would definitely load up on your breaks and use that discount code special for your our Hype listeners to take advantage of there. So let's get right into it. 2024 MLB Topps flagship design is revealed. If you haven't seen it, go on Topps' Instagram, their X, Collectibles Guru put it out there as well. And Cody, initial thoughts when you seen it. What was your initial reactions of the new design?
My initial reaction was this is going to probably be divisive. It's something that I think there's a familiarity with every design. And we were doing a little dissecting before we started recording here, and you can see the 04 design here, mostly the frame, the border. 1974 feels very similar to that. Usually they go by big anniversaries. I'd say 74 is the closest, but there's not really any design that this looks like. It feels like a brand new take on the flagship design. Way more flashy than we're used to. Just the neon. I think I even said to you, if they came out with a set that was like Topps Baseball Vegas, that's what it feels like. And we would all be like, that's cool. This is different. But I think it being flagship is going to get some, I think it might get a little bit of a mixed reaction from folks.
I mean, if I was going to put my Dan hat on there, he would say that he loves that there's the 4 borders there. So I think that's a plus for collectors that care about that. But yeah, Vegas has actually been on my mind because I have been looking at prices for the Super Bowl, knowing that, when the Niners are going to play there on February 11th, I'll have it booked up. So that's kind of what looked at to me. I don't want to say a bar neon sign that comes to mind. I know we're not going after that demographic necessarily. It could be for the kids too, but I do kind of see that in there. They didn't take a lot of risks, but yeah, the neon sign I feel is the neon team name, I should say, is somewhat new. Looks like there's also a neon outline on the logo that lines into the player's last name. Also a neon line that circles the position as well. I think the plus here is we know Evan Carter's going to be in there. I think we already figured out Ellie De La Cruz is going to be in there.
De La Cruz, we've been speculating Jason Dominguez as well. We didn't see that design. I do wonder, do they leave him out until it'd be kind of silly to leave him out because he debuted last year.
Is he going to play it all next year?
Halfway through the year.
So maybe that's the decision, is Series 2 or update, right?
Yeah, they might wait till Series 2 to give it a big push for somebody else to collect. But the other thing that pops out to me is this is going to look great in Chrome.
Yes.
This is going to really pop in Chrome. And maybe that's something that we can keep in mind going forward, is that they're really thinking about how will this look in the Chrome version, because that's when it's all said and done. That's what we're all waiting for when it comes to Topps Baseball. For me personally, I know everyone's still collecting, and Series 1 is still as we say, it's the Coca-Cola, but how it looks in Chrome is something I think they always are keeping in mind.
Yeah, and it's always hard. Even last year we had when it was revealed and they had the headshots, and I was like, I don't see where the auto's going to go. I'm kind of saying that again. I mean, I guess it goes above the name.
I think it's going to I could totally see it. I can see an Ellie De La Cruz auto right there, and I think that's going to look real nice. So when we see this in Chrome, I think anyone who was maybe not on board is going to start to see the vision here.
Serious question, though. Does the hobby still remember and collect Ellie De La Cruz at this point?
Yeah, he had a fall off in the second half. There's no question about it. He is basically like the skill set. Everyone's been saying it. It's not it's an old comparison now at this point, even only a year in. But O'Neal Cruz, it's the same sort of like the same build, the same position, the same. Wow, he's so tall and he's playing shortstop and he's throwing 100 miles per hour to first base. Like it's all very much the same skill set. And O'Neal Cruz was hurt last year. He kind of fell off the radar. It'll be interesting to see with De La Cruz. He's still so young. There's still so much incredible raw talent. I do wonder if he's the number one chase here. I think he probably is. Clearly, they're banking on him being the number one chase here.
Well, they held him out for that reason. I mean, I don't know how many times during the year people were like, hey, you guys are doing finest. Is Ellie De La Cruz in this? Like, nope. Is hey, Bowman draft? Is Ellie De La Cruz got a rookie card? Nope. Gilded. You think they got Ellie De La Cruz? Nope. Yep. So they definitely held him out to make sure they had some ammo for 2024. Now that I'm looking at this, and I don't know if any Reds fans want to chime in on our Hype Facebook group. I encourage all of you guys to go there. This is a City Connect jersey. It almost seems like they built the design around the Ellie De La Cruz card.
It does,
you know what I mean? Like, oh, this is our main guy. We're going to build the design around him. But let's say Ellie De La Cruz goes on to have a historic, career 20 years in, and he's a Hall of Famer. And they never wear these jerseys again. Is that going to piss you off? Like he's not in a traditional Reds uniform.
Which is such a classic look, too. It's one of the all-time classic looks in baseball. I don't know. Well, one, I really like these Reds.
I was going to say, I can't hate on the jersey. I like
them a lot. Actually, when I was in Cincinnati a few months ago, it was the one thing I'm like, I'm going to get that hat. I want to get that Reds hat, the all black with the red stripe. I love it. I don't know. There might be a little bit of a gripe, but one, it really does pop in that with that black border, more so than even the other cards that we're seeing here, some of the Cody Senga and the Evan Carter that we put up there as examples. But I don't think people will mind. I think the color match itself is just going to be enough to.
And red and black, I can't hate on the colors. It's almost like that would be like the Mojobreak uniforms if we had a baseball team.
It's
that
actually
would be the ones.
It would be. But put an M there instead of a C. We're cooking there,
dude. I think with this, maybe we need to try to order some custom Mojobreak red City Connect jerseys. I don't know.
That might be the outline right there.
Now, does it say Cincinnati on the jersey?
It says Cincy. Yeah.
If it said Reds, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, I know. If it said Red, we could have done it. But it's going to be a good rookie class. I think Evan Carter having that big postseason really did a lot of help because the Ellie hype fell off quite a bit. He's still going to be your starting shortstop opening day, but the fact that they can at least say we got Evan Carter on our back pocket, where he had a huge postseason, they won the World Series, that's going to be a huge change. I think that's like 1A and 1B right there. If those are your two.
Yeah, and that's actually what the best news I think about the set is seeing the Evan Carters, knowing he's going to be in this series helps that as far as having at least two people to chase. I mean, any speculation on any other rookies you think we might get?
Dominguez is the one that we mentioned. It's the one that pops out that if he gets in there and just all of the. I mean, if he's in there, you can make an argument he's the number one chase. Just with all of the hobby hype leading up to this, he had a great debut in his very brief time in the majors when he got called up in September. Unfortunately, got hurt. Needs Tommy John surgery, but sounds like even with the Juan Soto move, he's going to have a spot in the starting in the outfield once he's ready. That to me would be the only guy who would really set it over the top. But there's a few other guys.
What about Yamamoto? What about Lee?
There's that too. There's Yoshinobu Yamamoto. There's Jung-Hoo Lee. There's Shota Imanaga. There's three huge. In fact, Yamamoto is probably the biggest of the Japanese rookies in a long time, I would say. Yep. I know Masataka Yoshida last year, but he's around 29, 30.
And Senga, right? With
Senga as well, same thing, a little older. Yamamoto's coming in like a rookie. he is the age of these rookies, same age. Jung-Hoo Lee, same thing. You could say he's around the same age as a lot of these rookies, so that'll be very exciting as well.
And you got to put a little bit of value on the first Dodger Ohtani cards as well. They're going to have. I'm assuming they'll be in Series 1. I would assume, and then maybe some other inserts in Series 2.
Oh, there is going to be. You know what's funny is a lot of Dodger fans always complain, like, for as many stars as we have, and I've seen this when I'm ripping off Fanatics Life, as many stars as we have, we don't get any, like, they never highlight us. Like, we see Ohtani and Trout and Judge and Soto, but I don't see Betts and Freeman nearly as much, which I think is actually kind of fair. That won't be the case this year.
No.
Trust me. Yeah, that will not be the case.
Betts and Freeman aren't as polarizing, I guess, as Ohtani and Trout were. Right?
They are like they really pop out as like they're amazing players, but they are, I guess they were in that top 10 rung, but I guess the bottom of the top 10, if you will. But like I said, that's not going to be a problem this year. You're going to see some big Ohtani. There's going to be a lot of Ohtani Yamamoto chases, Ohtani Betts chases, all that stuff is going to be insane.
Yeah, for sure.
So have fun, I guess.
So mid-February, I think we're getting a release on this.
Mm-hmm.
Usually comes out right before. Series 1's always a special time for me because, spring training's kind of pitchers and catchers are reporting, in a sense. Baseball's right around the corner, and it really ushers in the first product of 2024, which we may have some crossover 2023 still. I don't know, because I think we still have Dynasty for sure.
Stadium Club is what, next week or 2 weeks from now?
Yep, Bowman's Best is next week. Yep. There's some other ones I'm probably forgetting. I think there's at least maybe 5-star. I don't remember seeing a 2023 5-star.
I don't remember seeing 5-star.
So I mean, if that's even on the calendar, but we'll see going forward as well. This week in the hobby. Man, who cares about Steamboat Willie? Jesus Christ. I love Disney, and I don't give an F about Steamboat Willie.
I can't believe how exhausting this is. I knew this was, so again, anyone who is not as aware, Steamboat Willie is now in the public domain. Basically, you could do whatever the hell you want with the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey, Minnie, and all the different characters. And we are, 11 days as of this recording into 2024, and I'm sick of it. There's a little part of me of like, maybe we made a mistake with these public domain rules, because this is all. There has not been a single thing that has come out of this where I've gone, well, that's great. Maybe the gas card that we showed there, it's leaked into trading cards. That's the only thing where I've been like, that's kind of neat.
I mean, are we going to fast forward 70 years, episode, 5,000 of the hype, and we're going to be like, the Tracy Ullman Simpsons is coming out right now, public domain. But let's get the old drawing of Homer.
You have to use the Tracy Ullman show version. You cannot use the Matt Groening, the one that debuted with Santa's Little Helper, Christmas special. You can't use that version yet. Yeah, it's all. I'm already exhausted. Have you seen all the horror movies too that have come out that are coming out?
I've seen a few. Yeah,
like, dude, like we did this last year with Winnie the Pooh too.
Was Winnie the Pooh public domain
last year? The original version, not the Disney version, which this is where it really gets
murky.
Weird. Yeah, it gets weird. So the Disney version's still fine, but the original version of Winnie the Pooh went to public domain last year, and they did a horror movie with Winnie the Pooh. And guess what they're doing? There's literally 3 Mickey Mouse horror movies on deck for 2024. Can we do something else with this?
And that's kind of bad for kids. They're like, I was going to go to Disneyland, but I saw Mom and Dad watching that movie, and Mickey's going to stab me.
Yeah. Just let's get a little, I don't know. Let's get a little more creative. Leaf did a set. Gas did a set. Brian Gray did some sort of set with another company. I don't know. If you like it, knock yourself out. For me personally, there's so many officially licensed Disney sets that are really fun and cool to collect that I just wouldn't waste my time with this.
I mean, this is the equivalent of Housewives running to get the Stanley Cup as soon as they were released. It's the equivalent of let's get this out as fast as possible.
Which, by the way, I do. We talked about this off air yesterday. I hope in 2024. This is, and I'm not trying to say let's stomp on one company, but I hope that Gas gets the same notoriety, at least, of Leaf, because I think that their designs all across the board are I like their designs more. I think they're sharper. I think they're starting to get some big celebrity autographs. They had that cool Arnold Schwarzenegger set, I think, last year.
You know, I swear I bought a Snoop Dogg card from them. Maybe it didn't go through, but I don't believe I received it.
Okay.
I don't know. But yeah, they do. I do like their designs. I'd like to have a card in hand to see it, but
yeah,
the images, definitely the images on their website look great.
They could be. It'd be cool to see them sort of take the reins as like the next celeb. Like, where can you get cool pop culture cards?
Yep.
And I know Leaf has had. They kind of are the only game in town, frankly, when it comes to doing that sort of stuff with unique autographs.
Well, now that I'm looking at this Leaf card that you have here, isn't that isn't that the like behind
the Van Gogh Starry Night?
But why would you combine the two?
I don't know. I look. So I think the gas one is a piece of art that also entered public domain this year. So
the Van Gogh must be public domain too. Then.
I looked it up, but it didn't enter this year. It's been long in there. So it's like, so why?
So now we're taking two concepts that are public domain and combining them together.
Again, yeah, but like at least the gas one, it's like they both enter the public domain right now. I'm like, okay, I see the connection there. It's weird, but I see it. Whereas the Starry Night one is like, you just took a very famous piece of art and literally photoshopped Mickey Mouse into it. It's very strange.
Why do we have to have a famous, why do we have to combine the best of both worlds?
No idea.
Also, public domain, I'm assuming, only applies to fictional characters, not real life people?
Yeah. No,
like we can't have I can't print Victor Wembanyama in 100 years, like on cards?
I don't think so. No, I don't think that's how it would work.
I mean, Ruth would be eligible here soon, right? I mean, for public domain.
I think, and I think too, I think it has to be 80 years since the original creator died. And it hasn't been for Walt Disney, but for the other creator, it's been 80 years since Ub Iwerks, I believe, has been 80 years.
Who created Steamboat Willie?
Yeah, who co-created it, Disney and Iwerks. So that's why it entered in. It's weird, it's confusing, and boy, I'd wish. You know what? If you're just gonna make like cheesy bad horror movies or stuff like these cards, I don't know. Almost a better use would just be like Steamboat Willie dry cleaning services. Like, who cares at that point? That would almost be a better use of the license.
I know. I mean, and I know government officials are public domain no matter what.
Sure.
So you could print a shirt of any of the presidents.
Like, that's just free speech. Yeah.
Right. So like I know when like Leaf has that decision set and they have all the faces and all the names. Those are all public domain. Now, does that just stop at presidents, or could you do like police officers?
I don't know how it works
question.
Using the likeness and stuff like that. I think it really is only for like actual elected government officials.
What's the squiggly line that's in between this?
That's the logo. We were talking about that one yesterday. Mascot. Mascot, which interesting story. We'll just bring it up briefly. They've been kind of on the radar here for the last half year. Ezra Klein, formerly of Collectible, is now
Ezra
Levine, thank you. Is leading the charge there as the CEO of this new venture, which essentially is going to be used now at shows. Most notably at the Dallas Card Show, the Burbank Card Show coming up. I saw this on Sports Collectors Daily that they're going to be basically used as an inventory so people can just get the app, or I think there might even be little kiosks where they can go up and say, okay, I'm looking for a Michael Jordan 86 Fleer. Who's got it? And you can just get a list right there. Very helpful for shows.
App too, I'm assuming.
I think it's really interesting for shows. Could be a really interesting way to navigate. And also, we were maybe connecting some dots about, we know Fanatics is probably going to put their foot in the door here for some big shows this year. What that is, we don't know. But
yeah, I mean, I've heard rumors, nothing confirmed, that some of these big level shows that we may have mentioned here have been acquired by Fanatics. Like I said, I don't know. I've heard this from a guy on the street corner, so I don't know if it's correct knowledge or not. But I wouldn't be surprised with them announcing that they are going to do shows if they would acquire some of the better run shows that have been successfully run for years and years and years to kind of plug right into their scheme of what they're going to do. But I do like the modern side of this. I don't know how much accounting is going to be needed. You're going to have to put all of this in the hands of the dealers. We don't know if a card sell. I mean, I'm just imagining. I haven't. We've done shows, not me personally, but Mojobreak has done shows. If that Jordan sells, is it going to be instantly taken off of the list of being sold?
I think that becomes the the duty of the merchant at that point.
Right, and when you got 10 people maybe trying to wheel and deal with you, you're not going to be able to like, okay, all right, you want the Jordan, all right, you want the Brady I'm selling, okay, you're moving around, you're shaking, you're also watching to make sure nobody steals anything from you, and being able to deal with that kind of inventory, also deal with cash, and that seems like a big ask, but maybe they have some kind of technology that it scans it, or something that makes it so that it's not available anymore. Or maybe it's just simply all of their stock at the beginning and it just stays there, and you got to check with the dealer to see if they have it.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea in theory to make it easier for you to navigate the show. But also, I'll play a little devil's advocate. Isn't the fun of going to a card show kind of stumbling on places and finding, like, I don't know. I know there's some people... there's some people who would say like, no, I want to know exactly where to go for exactly what I want, which is fair. But I think the fun of it too is like you just walk around and wow, I would never have even been looking for this thing. But now it's totally piqued my interest.
Yeah, I think it's catering to, like, honestly, the big spenders, because, like, maybe you're looking for a 52 Mantle 9. And you're going to maybe find only one dealer in each show, or probably none, actually, that are going to have said card. So maybe you're just like, maybe you're in town, you're thinking about a show, and you only collect 52 Mantles, and you see that maybe there's 3 of them there. I'm going to go look at them. So maybe that's what it's for.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, I kind of like the spontaneity myself as well. Or I guess if, I can't see like somebody that has like 15,000 commons. They're not going to like, you know what I mean? They're not gonna,
no.
But there is those kind of people that could be useful. Like that's why Burbank Cards is so successful with their online singles business is, I've got, 1981 tops and I need card 205 and 207 to complete my set, right? Those are going to be like dollar cards, but are you going to be able to find it that way? I don't know. I don't know if they're going to categorize it that way or not.
Yeah, it's an I like it. It'd be interesting to see how it does in these shows, and if could make its really big debut at the National, where it's going to get a really, really big push.
Maybe that's what the testing grounds are for.
It's all leading up to it. Feels like for sure.
So it appears that Prism basketball has hit the retail shelves. Your Targets, Walmarts, I believe, have some blasters. So the Victor Wembanyama rookie has came out, and I think a lackluster photo is what most people are advocating on this one. It's if you look it up and you're watching the video, you'll see it here. But it is Victor Wembanyama with a black curtain. And not even a straightened black curtain, kind of a ruffled black curtain behind him on a court. And this is a photo shoot shot. I think early sales are like $200 for a base.
Yeah, we were looking at like $150 to $200 for a base. Some of there are a couple of parallels out there and inserts that are also floating. The insert bases are floating around the same price right now. Haven't seen a ton of parallels out there. You know what that the card looks like? Actually, it looks like the cover of the Eminem show. That's what I'm envisioning. Do you remember that where he's like standing? He's standing in front of the curtain.
Oh, the red one.
Yeah, he's standing in front of a curtain, and even the stage kind of looks the same. Like,
lose yourself.
It's a little weird. Yeah, it's a little weird. Look. Is it gonna deter people from buying this card in droves? Absolutely not. It won't. I know people are upset about the way it looks. I don't like the way it looks, but. It's still it is still the number one rookie card, I think, for collectors this year, other than maybe some of the NT stuff, if we get NT logo mans of him and stuff like that. If you're just looking for that base rookie card that you want, it is still the one you're going to want of Wembanyama. But yeah, would I have liked it if they had photoshopped it and had done, like, I think we saw examples like the Luka year, Zion, Anthony Edwards, where they clearly photoshopped him and just put the card background, which just looks cleaner, looks slicker.
It does, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, this looks like a photo shoot. I mean, obviously, Wembanyama is a exclusive athlete signer for Fanatics. I don't know how Panini had to acquire these photos. If they let him, if they were able to take photos, or if they had to like purchase them from Getty. Chet Holmgren has a similar one last year that people were complaining about on his Prism. Same kind of deal. So I don't know why there wasn't any photoshopping done. Same thing with the Chet. Got a black curtain. We've actually been to the rookie photo shoot in New York, and it's basically I think it was at the Knicks practice facility, which is very similar to like a high school basketball court. And they actually have it sectioned. They have a full court, and it's sectioned off into 2 stations. Obviously, you can take more photos that way because you split the full court into two basically shooting areas, and the black curtain separates you from getting, said other rookie in the background from the shot. But like I said, I don't know why they didn't Photoshop it. Interesting enough, we were just listening to the Kelsey show, the New Heights podcast yesterday, and I don't know which episode it was in. I think it was a recent one, but Travis Kelsey had a 2013 Topps Chrome rookie where he's in an Under Armour shirt with his mouth open with a football in his hand. And he advocated that he absolutely hated the photo. Terrible job. They don't know why. He doesn't know why they used the photo. Turns out it was at the combine. But for that one, Kelsey was, I don't know what, a fifth, sixth rounder. He was a late round pick.
He was not a rookie premier guy.
Not a rookie premier guy. He did not go to the field and take photos of him in jerseys and stuff like that. So, and being at the time, Topps was probably like, well, we got to put this guy in the set. Getty, what's the cheapest photo? And then that's what they used because they couldn't use a Cincinnati Bearcats photo because they don't have the license for the collegiate at the time. So interesting enough, that was like a terrible photo. I think the Steph Curry rookie from Topps and Topps Chrome versions of it is terrible because they were in the process of losing the license to Panini during that year, and they, for some reason, could not have a photo shoot, so they had to use a headshot and Photoshop out whatever was on his shirt. James Harden was that year as well.
Yeah.
You could see those same photos. So, it's definitely odd. I mean, this guy, obviously, we knew he was going to be big, unlike the Kelsey scenario. Don't know why they used that photo, why they didn't decide to Photoshop it out, but, here we are. Probably won't affect the value of the Black Prism. We'll still go for a lot.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, it ain't going to change too much. It just stinks that now you're going on a second year of big rookies having less than appealing rookie cards here for the basketball collectors. And hey, they're basically doing, like, if you look at Prism Football, it's essentially the same thing. It's just it's a nicer backdrop because you're on a football field. It's outdoors. But it's essentially the same idea. They're just taking the exact photo, not doing anything with it. And just plastering.
Yeah, being
card.
at the photo shoots, they make them do the football moves. Quarterbacks are throwing the ball. Running backs are running the ball, and try to get the receivers to catch the ball, and other positions that are out there. Usually don't have too many defensive players, but if they do, they're having them do stuff as well. So yeah, we'll see. See how these sales go for. I think people are still going to go crazy. I think this is coming out in the next few weeks, so we'll see the hobby version really exploding.
And it'll also be interesting because it feels like the last year for basketball has been kind of like, failure to, not only say failure to launch, it's been big rookies. Paolo was huge, and now that Chet's playing at a high level, that should improve last year's product run, but it has been kind of lost in the mix here the last year or so. So would love to see basketball really get a jump start with the Wemby chase, and there's been other really nice rookies in this year's set as well. I know the Thompson twins are in there. The young guy from Jaquez Jr. from Miami, he's been a huge sensation there. So there's some guys who have broken out that beyond Wemby, but Wemby's also looking like the real deal too.
And basically this card comes out and Fanatics is like, hold my beer. Basically, with the LeBron news, which I'm sure you guys have heard at Follow Hobby stuff, LeBron signs with Fanatics. There's an ad that comes out for Fanatics under Bowman and Topps, and then LeBron puts it out on his own X as well, Twitter, and showcasing the Bowman Chrome dual auto of himself and his son, called The Origins of Greatness. So, this is just the start to what could be for LeBron. I saw Brian Gray tweet out. I want to get your opinion on this as well. Brian Gray was like, it is time to sell some of your upper deck LeBron James autos. Like, not rookies.
Right. The logic being
that now there's more in the market. There's going to be more in the market. So you have a window. And I think specifically maybe your Exquisites and your licensed Cavaliers stuff. You're not going to have any Lakers licensed autos. You're not going to have any Miami licensed autos because it's all going to be Cavaliers prior to the agreement with Panini. I think those ones are kind of safe, the upper deck stuff, but like the upper deck collegiate, I think is going to be like the year that they had, I think it was like 11, 12, 13, where they put him out in the Irish St. Vincent, St. Mary with the auto. They had Exquisite that year. They've had some other sets. I would really be concerned with some of those if you're holding on to those. maybe see. I mean, the market's not great right now, but maybe it's time to see to cash in. I mean, it is LeBron James at the end of the day. He is going to be the legend, arguably the greatest player of all time, next to Jordan as well. But maybe if you're speculating, it might be time to consider moving him, because I don't know if he's going to have more than the one auto in the Bowman Chrome U. It doesn't seem like that, at least at this point.
Yeah, right now they seem to just be going with it's going to be him and Bronny in one guard, which I think is a good way to roll it out. I would be cool if they did sort of a Brady, like, hey, that might be a possibility, honestly. Having a first Bowman of LeBron in his St. Vincent, St. Mary jersey, and it would do well. I mean, we saw it with the Brady Bowmans in Bowman Draft, that there's a huge market for this and people are going to go crazy for this stuff. I think they could do that if they wanted to, make it like only 50 copies or whatever it may be.
Well, people were always trying to say, like, I'm put him in an Indians uniform, or Guardians, I should say.
Right.
Indians back then, because I think he was at a game in an Indians jersey.
I mean, it would be an easy sell. You could do that. Obviously, they've already done the tops now with him and Mookie Betts. So, look, they are going to find a way. If they like I said it on a previous episode, if there's a picture of LeBron James wielding a lightsaber at Disneyland, they're throwing him in top Star Wars.
Right.
Like, it's just happening. Like, this is our future here. Tom Brady, he's again, same thing. He's throwing out he's shooting a half court shot at the Celtics game or whatever. He's sitting courtside at the Celtics game. Guess what? NBA Topps Chrome. It's happening.
Well, I mean, and obviously we're going to have to wait 2 more years now for the license to come around? So you're going to have probably more of these gimmicky things with LeBron for now. I mean, they'll be able to sell signed jerseys, signed memorabilia, all that stuff, I would think. Especially with LeBron, partnered up with Maverick Carter and Mitchell and Ness. I believe there's a Mitchell and Ness connection there as well. So, I mean, also you start thinking about the possibilities of a LeBron Brady dual auto, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's that. I don't know what set that lays into.
And there's someone there also who is working day and night on luring over Michael Jordan now, where you could then throw all three of them on a card, and then again the possibilities just keep.
Well, who would you throw on there? Like, say you had to make a quad of the four greatest living athletes.
Ooh, that's a great question. I think what Fanatics would like to do ideally.
I think you have LeBron and Brady, but who
LeBron and Brady, and this is not saying they're the greatest. Well, one.
Well,
is
so now you got
Jordan.
football. Okay, you probably would want.
So if you want one from each sport.
Yeah, but do you throw a hockey guy on there? I mean,
I was saying you could do. It would have to be Gretzky,
who is still.
It has to be Gretzky.
Yeah, it has to.
Unless they make some deal with they work out a deal with like Sidney Crosby, where it's like now you're a Fanatics exclusive. They could do that, and it wouldn't be a stretch.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Sidney Crosby's like Steph Curry right now, right?
Right.
In that sport,
he's in top 5, top 10.
Yeah.
But is he Gretzky level? No, not quite. Yeah, you could do that, but I think what they will probably try to do is throw Jeter on there. Is he the greatest baseball player? No, but he's the most iconic of the modern era. And, of course, they would love to have Michael Jordan eventually. If you can get all four of them, that's massive. Now, we're going to be biased here. I think they could throw, you could do a LeBron, Brady, Barry Bonds.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, I'm being biased, but...
Or just a Brady Bonds on the Sarah High School.
A Brady and Bonds is like a slam dunk. That's no question. That's got to happen yesterday, feels like.
And I feel like the old guard at Topps, and I heard rumors before an employee left Topps that they had gotten Barry Bonds to be back in products. But this was a year and a half ago, so I don't know what they've done with those or if the plans have been put on hold. I would think Fanatics doesn't seem to care as much as maybe the old guard of Topps, worrying about the steroid era and stuff. I think we're past it now, where I think that it'll be okay to put him in sets.
It'd be huge news.
Because we've got Sammy Sosa in sets.
It wouldn't be – it's not LeBron Brady level news, but if a week before a big Topps release, heck, if a week before Topps Series 1 – you get a hype ad with Barry Bonds, and it's like, guess what? There's a couple Barry Bonds autos scattered through this. That would be a huge selling point, I think, for a lot of collectors.
There was a set, and I wish that we could emulate this. It was, I don't remember the year, but it was Upper Deck, and it was when they didn't have any more licensing, but it was called All Time Greats. and it was basically a tin, and it had an outer thing, and you'd basically open it up, and it'd say Larry Bird or Michael Jordan on the tin. You wouldn't see the card yet. So you'd open it up, and you'd be like, you're getting a Larry Bird auto or a Michael Jordan. I can only imagine if Fanatics can emulate this now that they have LeBron, now that they have Tom Brady.
They have all the baseball guys.
Like a big high-end set, maybe 30 people, the biggest names like, Trout maybe in there. You like Barry Bonds you mentioned. You have a good mix. Yeah, Shohei. And then you just open it. Imagine for the breaks how that – because this was just like – I think it was like 09 or 10, so it was just like in the cusp of break starting. And I remember we had a couple boxes. It was amazing. And this was without licensing. And there could have been a book card in there. I remember there was like one that had it was Bird, but it also had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the other side, which wasn't announced on the cover, but like
that's cool.
They had dual autos in there, And then Sterling did that one year too. Maybe they do like a Sterling multi-sport. Hopefully people are tuning into that. But, where it's like Sterling and then the era, and then it's, or it's like, 1960s basketball. Or like, it's like there's so many things you could do with that. It'd be fun.
There's a ton of possibilities here with LeBron. I hope, and even if it's a gimmicky set, I hope that they can capitalize on giving us some sort of 03-04 tribute here before the basketball season ends. You kind of missed the boat with the 20th anniversary last year, but like there's still a little time here. You could still do it. I would love to see that. There was rumors that we heard a few months ago that they are going to produce some sort of basketball set, even if it's unlicensed.
Right, because it's a 20-year now, right? 03. Well,
yeah, this would
kind of
be
missed it a little bit.
Yeah, you missed it a little bit, but if you still are like, it's 03, it's 23-24 Topps Chrome basketball, you could still capitalize on, in the 03-04 design.
Or they're going to wait for the 25th year anniversary.
They could do that. That would be also that'd be a cleaner way to do it. But also, even with no licenses, we now know LeBron and Wemby are exclusive to Fanatics. You could do some incredible stuff with. You could just market it like it's the only place to get their autos right now.
So this said dual auto is going to be in 23-24 Bowman Chrome University, correct?
Yes.
Do we have? I'm going on there now on the fly just to see if they do have a checklist. Now I know Bronny does have autos by himself in the set. So as far as who else is in there,
Caitlin Clark, right?
Yeah. See, I have no clue other than.
But it's not her. It wouldn't be her.
Wouldn't be a first,
no.
2023. Let me see if I could bring this up on the fly. We have 23. Oh, yep, there it is. 23-24 Bowman Chrome University basketball.
Not a great crop of young players.
Bronny James. So if I look at the short print variations, that is probably what they're going for, the bigger names. So you got Bronny James, Justin Edwards, DJ Wagner, Isaiah Collier, Stephon Castle, Cody Williams, Caitlin Clark, Paige Buchers, and Angel Reese. So you're going to
get Angel Reese.
You got Angel Reese. That's a short print variation. Let me see if I can go to the autos.
And Angel Reese should be a first because she was not featured in the last one. So
right.
That'll be probably her and Bronny will be the two big chases. Yeah, it's not this year's NBA draft class is
Omaha Bilou has a first Bowman. I know he's a fairly big name. DJ Wagner, I keep hearing that name out of Kentucky. So you got some of the bigger. I mean, what March Madness coming around too in March? Some of these names might be bigger than just Bronny.
Yeah, there'll be a couple guys.
We got a couple months from that, obviously.
Yeah,
but yeah. So really, what you're looking for is Bronny and Braun out of the gate. If you're a casual, now if you're a big, college guy, there's a decent amount of players from Kentucky, Duke, LSU, Gonzaga, Michigan State. So
from that checklist, it sounds like they need to do a Brady Bowman draft thing here for LeBron to really get a big selling point. No offense to these guys, and again, the Angel Reese and Bronny chase is really solid, but you gotta. I think adding the LeBron thing, adding some more LeBron, and not like over and doing too much of it. Literally, what they did with Bowman draft with Brady, I think would spice.
Yeah, and I'm looking right now. Yep, there is only. So I'm assuming this is the set Footsteps. And it's LeBron and Bronny.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's the card.
Yep, that is the card.
So it's only one. It's the only card LeBron's going to be featured in right now.
That's crazy.
But I believe this comes out,
Fairly soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say it's in the next couple of weeks, that one coming out, which, of course, we'll be repping it. We'll be chasing LeBron. Also, before we get off this topic, and I keep bringing up Michael Jordan, and if it's like, oh, what does Michael Jordan want to do with any of this? I have a conspiracy theory about the college football national championship game Monday night. Great game. Jim Harbaugh finally champion.
Yep.
Saying goofy.
Who's got it better than us?
Oh man, I that's the most.
And he still says it, right?
They still say it.
Yeah.
They keep asking at the end of every interview. I'm like, it makes me laugh, but then a single tear comes down my face because then the memories start flooding back of Frank Gore. Anyway, but in that game, in a suite, you had Stephen A. Smith, you had Derek Jeter, you had Travis Scott, and you had Michael Jordan. There was no Michael Rubin to be found, but Jeter and Travis Scott alone, I'm like, that piques my interest, being in this hobby. That's a Fanatics crew right there. That's two of Michael Rubin's boys right there.
Stephen A. Smith was in there. I don't think Jason Whitlock was in there.
No, he was no. Jason Whitlock did not get the invite.
Not in the building.
No, he was calling them things that Austin Powers would be calling them. Anyway. So my speculation, and again, it's not like Michael Jordan needs to be sold on anything. The man's doing fine, but also he's also not going to turn down a chance. He sees it. He's a smart businessman. He probably is seeing he's probably like, what's going on with that Upper Deck thing? Like when they come back at him and they're like, I see all these other companies being big right now. I see Tom Brady doing things.
I think it's going to take a lot of money because
it will.
I mean, from what I've heard from people that have been in and around Upper Deck, especially in their heyday, was that Michael would show up one day out of the year, only wanted to sign about 100 things, and he only wanted to deal with who he wanted to deal with on his time. And I think especially Panini would have him sign more. Maybe Fanatics, obviously caters to him, but I mean, he's not going to sign 1 million autos for him, I don't think. And also, we got to remember, didn't he just make $1.4 billion on the sale of or partial of the Hornets too? So, maybe he's like, I'm happy with Upper Deck, whatever. I don't know. We don't know. But Michael Jordan is definitely Michael Jordan. He does what he wants to do when he wants to do it. Even if he hears it might be a situation. He's like, well, LeBron's over there now. Cool. Well, I'm gonna stay with Upper Deck. I'm the only one here now. I'm getting my own thing.
It could be, and the fact that you still have Wayne Gretzky, you still have Serena Williams over there, you still have Tiger Woods over there. Like there's still massive names over there that have not made the leap. And maybe things change though with Tiger. We saw the Nike deal's over.
Yep,
things are changing.
I mean, and some may say, well, then just buy Upper Deck. But what I've also heard is that these contracts don't go with the sale. Right. It's exclusive to that ownership level, to who you dealt with. So you basically buy Upper Deck. Yeah, you get their likeness and you get the sets and you get all that stuff, but you have to then renegotiate with said players. So it doesn't come with it. So, you'd be able to basically take them out from making Michael Jordan cards, but Michael Jordan might be like, I'm not doing it.
And I'm assuming that also is like you got to then deal with the NHL. You've got to deal with Marvel. You've got to deal with all these other things that I'm sure they would love to do, but, that's going to be annoying.
Right, and they're probably like, hey, let's get basketball and football in-house first and see how that, shakes out.
Exactly.
Maybe think about taking over hockey, which Fanatics I don't think would be a big ask because they already do make the jerseys.
They literally make the jerseys.
They're the only company other than Nike that's making pro sport jerseys, I believe. So
they are the only. The NHL, I believe, is the only league that it's a Fanatics jersey. It's not Nike. It's not Jordan's. Not anything. It is a Fanatics brand. So that might be the easiest way. The easiest sell of all these things would be that one.
Yeah, so check it out. It looks like it's coming out the 17th for Bowman Chrome basketball. It looks like there will be a hobby and a delight version. So check us out on Fanatics Live for that. And, Mojobreak.com, of course, as well as Bowman's Best comes out the same day. And you're talking about a pretty good checklist with Bowman's Best. You got, you've got Jackson Holiday, you've got Max Clark, you got Wyatt Langford, you've got rookies of Corbin Carroll. I mean, it's 4 autos a box. It looks like it's going to be a pretty solid product. Wait. And Absolute Football. It's a big week next week for releases. So as long as they all stick as of this point. And once again, reminder, guys, use that code. Load up on these breaks. 15 breaks. 15 breaks. So you're going to get 15% off anything on the website at mojobreak.com. All right, let's talk some football.
Yeah.
Let's talk some football. NFL playoff preview, breakout players and stars to watch. Interesting enough, the NFL has the first 3 games are all AFC and the next 3 games are all NFC.
That's funny how that worked.
They didn't mix them.
Yeah. By the way, Doug, isn't this nice for a change? We can be as biased as we want.
I know.
With no pushback.
I know, exactly.
We can just be like, I mean, clearly, the Niners are rolling through the NFC.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, AFC might be a challenge, but you know what? Facing the Ravens again, you got 2 weeks to prepare. You already had that. You put that game in the back burner. So obviously, there's nothing else to say other than 49ers, the quest for 6. It's done. It's happening.
Oh, yeah. It's already, I talked to Joe, and he's already said I'm coming out to the NFC Championship game because the other game doesn't even matter. It's just going to be a win. But, NFC Championship, you're going to have to see who we play next week, Green Bay, I mean, obviously the Rams, they're scrubs, but they do present a pretty big challenge, being an interdivision.
It'll be the most interesting
interdivision team. Kyron Williams is a guy to watch in that Detroit Lions game with the Detroit Lions matching up with the Rams, and that Lions defense pretty good against Kyron Williams, who's having a fantastic year. Which, if you're looking at 2022 products, I know everybody's like Brock Purdy. There's Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams is in there as well.
I can't imagine his stuff is super pricey too, right?
It's gone up a little bit.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, he finished 3rd in the league in rushing.
Yep.
Huge breakout.
And had like 4 games he didn't play.
Right.
So
yeah, he's very impressive. That might be if you're looking for like, hey, if there's any guys I can buy low on going into the playoffs.
Right.
Feels like the easiest pick. Which, like you said, might mean that his stuff is going up a little bit right now. But nobody else jumps out as like an
There's the
obvious.
Bland guy from who's also 2022.
Yes.
Who broke the record for most pick sixes in a season, correct?
That's right.
So I noticed that his card, I heard a little bit of chatter about his cards on people trying to buy his cards. But, I mean, once again, defense doesn't sell as much. But, I don't know, maybe if he has a big pick six and this Cowboys are playing the Packers. So
yeah, it's all about the quarterbacks. And frankly, of this quarterback group in terms of the hobby, I mean, there's guys who are just locked in. Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. I'm throwing Brock Purdy in there. I feel like no matter what happens here, I don't think, stuff could go down, but I think he's kind of locked into that, like.
You know what's crazy, too?
His floor is pretty locked in. Like, it's not going to go super low.
You know what's crazy is I saw, like, the playoff experience amongst all the quarterbacks in the playoffs, and Brock has 2 games. There's a lot of guys that have 0, right?
None.
So it's like he's like a veteran now.
Well, yeah, because remember, Tua wasn't playing last year. He was
did.
hurt last year, so he's got none.
He was hurt. C.J. Stroud doesn't have
nothing.
Any. I mean, Dak has some. Mahomes had. I think Mahomes had the most, second, and then Flacco.
Would be second, of course.
Mason Rudolph 0.
Flacco. I haven't looked at Flacco cards. That seems like, come on, like it seems silly, but I don't know if you're thinking about it.
But maybe. That Texans game, Texans-Browns. I mean, that's.
I think it's the most intriguing matchup.
I think that's a coin flip game to me.
I think that is a game where whoever wins that game, I do not want to face that team.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter which team wins. I don't want to face the winner of that game.
I think the Browns, and Hobby's not going to like this, but I think the Browns win because I just, you see it with pros that get in the league, their first playoff games. It's big lights, strong lights, big game. It's C.J. Stroud's first game. It's D'Amico Ryans' first game. Probably the Browns coach first game too, right? But I just think that Flacco is going to be cool, calm, and collect. He's won a Super Bowl. This is no big thing for him. Obviously, he's not that crazy dynamic. He didn't have a job for the entire year, but I don't know. I just think the Texans make a few mistakes. I think the Browns capitalize on it.
Defense for Cleveland is so
it's insane.
It's so good. And they were in 2 years ago with Stefanski, I want to say, with Baker when I think they won 11 games the first time. And that's a defense that was really good back then. Now there's even better. There's more talent there. There's a couple of years of experience. And they kind of got a chip on their shoulder where I think a lot of people, frankly, I kind of had them as the third or fourth team in that division. So they're a scary team, I think. Could
you imagine if Watson was playing going against the Texans too?
Right. Well, hell, I mean, Flacco is kind of Chubb. And frankly, Flacco is kind of posed the question of like, do we need a guy like Deshaun Watson? I mean, we literally got Joe Flacco off the street, and we're doing this. Like,
that's incredible. And losing Chubb, and one of the top 5 running backs in the league.
It's insane that the year this team has had, despite all.
It's very injuries. Browns fashion though, with pulling an old core. I mean, it's almost like it's Vinny Testaverde out there. Honestly, it's like
that's right.
We were rolling out Vinny Testaverde. He's 49 years old, and he's out there running, but it's Joe Flacco.
Awesome.
I think the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs take care of business with the Dolphins are leaking some oil. I think apparently the coldest game in playoff history.
Oh, then it's over.
Yeah,
It's over. Yeah. Kansas City is going to win.
My question to you is Mike McDaniel still going to have the ankle showing?
Ooh, no, he can't. I mean, if he does, man, that's impressive. I mean, he grew up in Denver, so he's used to the cold a little bit. Maybe being in Miami has kind of warmed him up, but I think he might.
A lot of chatter saying that the Cowboys are the team that could possibly beat the Niners with the way they've been playing lately. Dak is considered. He's moved up into the ranks of
but they
MVP
won't because the NFC Championship game would have to go through Santa Clara, and we've seen the Cowboys on the road versus at home. They're different teams.
They are different.
They are a completely different team. I think they'll be fine this weekend, but yeah, no, I don't see that happening. Steelers Bills feels like Bills are an easy pick. Also, God, the NFL would be like, as much as they like the Steelers are a premier franchise, no TJ Watt and Mason Rudolph as your Q.
Some said that TJ Watt was practicing. I don't know if that was
practicing, but it's like it's gonna go down to the wire. That's what it sounds like. I mean, it's
and the Steelers are playing the
Bills. Yeah, it doesn't.
But the Bills are wishy-washy too.
They're wishy-washy, but they're going in with a head of steam.
And it's in Buffalo.
Yeah,
so.
I think the one game, it's you mentioned it. I think, well, really two games that really popped to me are the Packers-Cowboys and the Rams-Lions, where Packers really go in full head of steam. Jordan Love's looking amazing right now, and that I think
if
could present
they
some
beat
issues.
The Cowboys, get ready for Jordan Love card prices for that week, dude. It's gonna be insane.
Jordan Love stuff is already way up.
Which, if that happens,
did somebody pick Jordan Love for our? We had Stephanie Mojobreak on that week where we were all picking who should be the guy. Yep. She picked Jordan Love.
Who did you pick?
I picked Tua. So by the end of the year.
I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, we don't.
I gave love to a guy I trashed. I felt so bad trashing him for so long.
And Dan's not here. Dan picked Aaron Rodgers, which that was done after week 1, so that one's a little.
Yeah, Stephanie, man, she really.
I think she won. Yeah, I think so. No matter what happens this week, unless Tua can pull off an upset.
True.
That'd be the only thing maybe that
she went out. I mean, I went on the longest limb, but she went out more on a limb than you did on that one. I think. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, for me, I kind of wish that the Packers just beat the Cowboys, which probably won't happen. But then I won't have to watch that Lions-Rams game, figuring out if we're going to play the Lions or Rams.
Yeah, it would make it a lot.
I mean, the Rams, I should say, because we won't. Well, if the Lions win, then we will play the Bucs or the Eagles.
Yeah, the Niners play the winner of the Eagles-Bucs game, which
if all the top seeds win and goes to that game.
Yeah, I'm frankly fine with that. It's if it comes down to one of those two teams. Would rather not play the Eagles a second time, though.
No, I'd
rather not.
I know.
Yeah, and I do wonder.
Oh, and the Buccaneers a second time.
Yeah, I wonder where Jalen Hurts' value on the card market goes if they get knocked down the first round. Does it just start to? I mean, I'd have to look up some recent sales, but I would imagine his stuff might start really taking a hard hit.
Yeah.
I mean, it took a while for him to be at the same level as some of his peers in the draft.
Then we're just looking at the we've praised the 2020 rookie class, and it's non-existent. I mean, I guess maybe Jordan Love would be.
Burrow hurt.
Well, let's just say Burrow and Herbert. Gone.
Burrow and Herbert, so
then you got Tua gets knocked out by the Chiefs, Hurts gets knocked out by the Bucs, and you got Jordan Love knocked out by the Cowboys. Now you have no representation. Yeah. You actually don't have anybody from. You wouldn't have anybody from 19. You wouldn't have anybody from 20. You'd have no one from 2021 except for Trey Lance. But I mean, come on. It doesn't matter. And you'd only have Purdy.
And and maybe you're betting on Stroud too. That's it. Yeah, geez. It's a lot of it's funny. It's I feel like in the last couple of years it has really been, wow, we always go into the playoffs. Man, it's great for the hobby. Look at all these great young quarterbacks. This is the first year where you're like, if things don't shake right in the first round, we could be looking at it's all going to be the vets. Yeah. It's all going to be the vets. And it's, young. It's funny to say that about Mahomes now, but yeah, he's getting near there. Allen, Lamar, all those guys.
Yeah, you got the 18's looking pretty good. You even could throw Baker Mayfield in the conversation now.
You
got 3 guys from the 18 class.
Baker.
And you got Mahomes and McCaffrey from the 17 class. And then you got to go back to what? 08 or 09
Dak
for Stafford.
And Jared Goff, I was going to say.
16. Yep. So yeah, that's crazy.
Right. Stafford and Flacco, the old men of the group. Yeah, this is the most veteran heavy. I mean, it's good from the NFL perspective, from just a fan perspective. It's guys we've seen for a long time, guys who have had success in the league for a long time. It's great for the narratives. But yeah, in terms of what we're doing here, we want to see the young guys succeed. And
let's take a look at this. Browns got Flacco, first rounder. Yes, right? Mm-hmm. Texans, Stroud, first rounder. Tua was first rounder.
He was the first rounder.
Mahomes, first rounder. Mm-hmm. Mason Rudolph, but that's kind of Yeah. Mason Rudolph, I think, was a third rounder.
Boy, by the way, Kenny Pickett was a healthy scratch?
Yeah.
Or was a backup now?
No, he said he did not want to back up Mason Rudolph that game.
He came out, though, and was like, that. I don't know where that came out of. I never said that.
He learned the hard way.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, first rounder. You got Love, a first rounder, right? Love, a first
was
rounder.
He a late first rounder or a second rounder?
Dak was a third rounder, though.
Yeah, he was third.
And then you've got Stafford, first rounder.
Yep.
And Goff, first overall. Actually, those are both first overall picks, right? Overall. And then Hurts was early second. Mayfield, first rounder. Lamar, first rounder.
Yep.
And then
maybe early second for Lamar or late first. I can't remember.
And then Purdy, seventh round.
Yeah. And then Purdy, the final pick of the draft.
Yeah, so that's
pretty
crazy.
Nuts.
Crazy what do you think about that?
Yeah, pretty nuts. There are still a lot of good rookies here. We'll just shift gears to just the biggest, which rookie could make the biggest playoff impact here. There are still a lot of interesting rookies, and I actually think the guy that's the most obvious, I mean, C.J. Stroud is the guy I think that most in the hobby are rooting for, but to me, the guy who's got the chance to make the biggest impact is Puka Nacua.
Yeah. And let me say something first. The Rams suck, but I think, I have to say that first, I think Puka should be Rookie of the Year. I will stand on that hill. I will die on that hill because he broke the rookie wide receiver record that was in place from like the 60s.
He did.
I mean, C.J. Stroud, incredible year, yes. And in a normal year, I think C.J. Stroud should get it, and I think he will get it. I don't think they're going to give it to Puka. I don't know what it is about Rams receivers. You know, you have Cooper Kupp winning the Triple Crown, doesn't get MVP. You've got Puka Nacua now, who will probably not win Rookie of the Year, even though I feel like he should.
Well, it speaks to a guy throwing the football, the old wily vet.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford's still doing it.
Yeah.
The fact that Matt Stafford made a late push where I know the Pro Bowl doesn't mean anything, but I think it's impressive that the three Pro Bowl QBs, what was it? It was brought for the NFC. Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, and Matthew Stafford. Yep. Not Jalen Hurts, not some of the other young.
And speaking of that, there was they have the Pro Bowl, of course, but then they just came out with the All Pro list. I think voted by the players. Is that correct?
There's a players All Pro list,
and they had Travis Kelce as the tight end.
Makes no sense.
When you have Kittle with the most yards and the second most touchdowns out of all tight ends in the league,
it makes no sense.
It's like, were Swifties voting on this? Like,
this is where, look. The players know football. I'm not going to say I know football better than the players, but
right.
But when it comes to like
white.
season to season, these sorts of things, like who are the best you've seen, they're not watching the games. They're watching film. They're not like there Sunday watching every single game. You know what I'm saying? Like
I would even be probably okay with putting Sam Laporta ahead of Kelce.
Right.
Not over Kittle, but like and Kittle does so much. I mean, Kelce is a better receiver, but like. What Kittle does on the block and also got 1,000 yards this year and had X amount of touchdowns. First team in history to have a tight end, 2 receivers, and a running back over 1,000 yards.
That's where it's crazy. It is the name value. It's the notoriety. Well, I know this guy. I know what he does for that team. And, it's a leader.
Yeah, but if you're thinking of the pecking order from the casuals, the people that aren't involved in this every day, it's got to be Kelce Kittle, right? Easily.
Kelce
There's
and
nobody
Kittle.
else.
Yeah, they're the two guys, and there's no one else. Now, again, you said it, though. Like Sam Laporta, another rookie, made a huge impact this year. Don't know if he's playing Sunday or this weekend. He's got a hamstring injury. Yeah, just like him and TJ, just like TJ Watt, too. If this was a regular season injury, probably would not be playing. It's severe enough, but
I think the game to watch is the Lions game because you've got Gibbs here on this photo as well. One of them's going to win. So, I mean, if you're betting on one of these two, I think you could, you could pick both of them because I think I feel like Stroud could very easily lose and Devon A-Chain. It's Mostert's team right now. I mean, A-Chain had like the most yards on average, I think, on that in the league. He didn't have that many carries, but I think he was averaging like 8 yards a carry, but he had a couple big runs that skewed that. But like, I think he wound up with like 700 or 800 yards. Mostert had 20 touchdowns, I think, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, I think the Dolphins lose. Honestly, sorry, Dolphins fans, and I think the Browns beat the Texans.
I do too. That obviously would be the most exciting. There's so many great rookies on that team with Stroud, Will Anderson. I know Tank Dell's out, but the Lions to me are as good a rookie class in football that any team has. Like it is a very exciting crop of rookies, and most of them on the offensive side of the ball. So yeah, I think that would be very, very exciting to see them go far. Let's cap it with what would be the most exciting. I mean, obviously, we're biased. So we're going to say the Niners would be the most exciting Super Bowl matchup. But the one where you're like, if the Niners aren't there, what's the Super Bowl matchup you'd be like, I can't wait to watch that game. I would love to watch that game. Man, I'm going to throw it out there. I already want, if Detroit was in, I would be so hyped up. Be like, good for them. Yeah,
because they're the franchise, 30 years to win their division. Now, there's 4 teams in your division. Right. You can't win 1 out of 30 years. It's insane. So they're in there. My cousin's a Lions fan, went through a lot of heartache, and I think Jared Goff, got kind of the raw end of the deal there. Obviously, I think the Rams made the right decision. I mean, but the Lions made a great decision too because of all the draft capital they got out of all that deal and basically not skipping a beat to actually getting better without Stafford there. So it was good for both franchises. I would like to see, as much as it pains me to see it, I'm including the Niners in this one, but I want to see Niners and Chiefs, and I want to see Mahomes get beat because of what happened. A
little revenge. The Ravens, it would feel almost like that's not the Ravens team they faced a few years ago. That is the Chiefs team they faced a few years ago.
Yeah, minus Tyreek Hill. And
there's a whole lot of guys on the Niners side of the ball who are still there as well. So, yeah, you're right. That would be the most satisfying of that. I mean, Lions-Browns sounds – it kind of like almost sounds like a joke. But it would be, I think that would be incredibly compelling. 2 franchises, 2 fan bases that have had nothing.
And
then 60
Now, the game is in Houston because they're the division winner, right? So,
yes, the Browns and Texans will be in Houston.
Yeah, because the Ravens are the winner of that division.
Yeah, exactly.
I got a couple more things before we leave real quick. I can't see if I pulled, I know the 2 black 101s, the finite 101 of Stroud was pulled. And you don't have autos this year, if you were wondering. There's no Prism autos of Stroud, and the Shimmer 101 was pulled as well from first off the line. I can't see not selling it this week.
Yeah,
you got the. I think time and time again, people bake in Super Bowl wins, and you've got Trevor Lawrence right now. You invested heavily in Trevor Lawrence. You had that Chargers game last year where they came back and won, and then they got knocked out after that, and you're like, this is the year they're going to go to at least the championship game. They didn't make the playoffs. So, that is the, to 2021 classes. Man, that's bad. But, like, Stroud right now, possible rookie of the year, probably the favorite, the betting favorite, and right now having a home playoff game. If you pulled one of those cards, I think it would be, unless you're a Texans fan and you don't care, you don't want to sell it, you're just collecting. But to cash in right now on any of the Stroud hype, I think, is on Prism because it's probably going to be the biggest set of the year. I think you got to sell and maybe buy later if you believe them.
I'm not mad if you sell right now, and I'm also not mad if you want to hold on to it because I think even with a loss here, I don't think it does that much to the value of the card. And this is also a team that no matter what happens this week, they completely defied the odds. Like again, they had the number 2 pick going into the draft last year.
Yep.
And they did this.
2 and 3, they traded down to get Will Anderson.
Right. And you can make the argument of all these huge hype QBs we've had the last few years. Other than maybe Brock Purdy stepping in and then leading the charge all the way to the NFC Championship game. Like Joe Burrow didn't go to the playoffs.
Or just imagine if the Panthers picked Stroud instead of Bryce Young too.
Right.
Now, that would have been a better situation for Bryce Young. Will be sitting in the playoffs? I don't know.
Right.
Bryce Young looked really bad. I mean, there's a lot of hope for him. But, yeah.
You can make the argument that maybe this is like the closest comparison in recent years. Mac Jones, in his rookie year, leading the Patriots to the playoff. The difference here being Stroud statistically has flown past Mac Jones easily.
Yep.
There's not a single game that Mac Jones had that compares to like the top 5 games.
And honestly, besides
that
Purdy, you go back to maybe Trevor Lawrence, and then then you get to the 2020. Like it's literally Stroud and Purdy with the most hope right now out of the last 3 years, I think.
So if you don't want to sell that card, I would totally understand if you want to hang on. And frankly, that's going to be a franchise that probably has enough money to play around with. I don't know what the salary cap situation is.
And D'Amico's job's secure for a while. They got a good defense. They've got good receivers. They're going to build.
Who would not want to play on that team if they had the option and they can fit them into the budget in the salary cap? Who doesn't want to go to Houston right now? Frankly, that is as attractive a destination this offseason. So if they build a franchise, they build a really competitive roster around him next year in an AFC South that is still totally up for grabs, then you could make an argument that his value will go up by training camp. But yeah.
And one last thing I wanted to say before we let you guys go, I actually just watched because Pete Carroll just retired and left the Seahawks. I think he retired, right? I don't know if he's.
I don't really know what's going on there. He's gonna be part of the organization, but I don't know if he got like.
He is like 72, right?
Yeah,
70-ish.
Him, Saban, Belichick, they're all around the same age. This isn't like. It's funny how people are like, oh my gosh, Nick Saban's retiring. And it's like, what other profession in the world would we be like absolutely shocked that a 72-year-old
if Shanahan retired this year, we would be like,
sure.
Or McVay. Yeah,
this is the only profession where it's like, he's 72 and he's retiring? What?
Man wants to enjoy the rest of his time.
Exactly. Let him live. Let him enjoy
it's a grind. But I actually saw, I don't know when it happened, but it was a Shannon Sharp interview with Marshawn Lynch, and he was talking about, you mentioned Frank Gore earlier and the Ravens, and we didn't run the ball. And obviously the other Super Bowl you think of is when, Russell Wilson threw that pick at the 2-yard line, didn't give the ball to Marshawn. So Marshawn talked about it on the Shannon Sharp podcast, and he said he saw Russell Wilson take off his helmet, and he said he immediately ran over, took his helmet off, ran to Pete Carroll and went, ah! And then ran in the tunnel. And he said as he's running in the tunnel, he runs into Lenny Kravitz, and he's like, oh, wow, it's Lenny Kravitz. And Lenny Kravitz is like, aren't you supposed to play? He's all, it's over, man.
Damn.
I don't know what Lenny Kravitz was doing. Apparently not watching the game.
No.
But he wasn't sure that the game was over. And he was just like, he just said he just hysterically laughed that was the play call, I guess. So, that, and then another memory came up of DK Metcalf, apparently in his draft day interview, came in with his shirt off. And Pete Carroll took his shirt off when he saw DK Metcalf. So some good memories there. Good memories of Petey.
That's kind of a flex.
I'm gonna miss the battles as a Niner. They got the best of us for about 8 or 9 years, and recently we've with their depleted team, we've gotten the wins on.
This point was brought up on another podcast, so that's not an original thought, but I think it's worth sharing that. The one thing I will miss, and it's like there's a part of me I'm like, oh, thank God I don't have to deal with Pete Carroll and Nick Saban and Bill Belichick anymore. It's over. But it's nice to have teams, coaches, players that are fun to hate.
Yes. Yes.
And that's gone now.
Yeah.
Those 3 guys being gone. Those are 3. Maybe Pete Carroll less so for outside fans, but especially for Niner fans. There was the Seahawks-Niners at the peak was that rivalry. Nothing could beat that, especially with Harbaugh there too. And there's that built-in rivalry from Stanford and USC. Like it was unbeatable for a few years.
And I almost feel like I switched sports. Like how the Giants, we had that run. I feel like that's how the Seahawks are now. They're like, well, we beat you guys, that's how we're saying it, like the Dodgers decide, like, well, we won all those championships. We suck now, but hey, you remember that 3 or 4 years ago. That's kind of how I feel like the Seahawks. Like they're competing, but they're not what they were.
Yeah, and frankly, Seahawks fans will still hold it over our heads. Like, how many Super Bowls you got since 1995? Oh, right. How many we got? How many appearances we got? Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, they can still hold it against Niner fans, and hopefully not for long.
All right, guys. Well, that's all we got for you guys today. We appreciate you guys. Sorry we were 1 day late, but we got the dues on the flagship for that for this podcast, and we'll be back with a full staff next week. Probably some more news with all the releases. So check out Mojobreak.com for all these upcoming breaks. We're already pre-selling Bowman's Best. We're already starting to pre-sell some Bowman Chrome University. So hop on there, get your spots, and we'll see you guys next week on The Hype. Peace. Bye.